Harvard researchers just completed the largest first-hand investigation into slavery and child labor. They were able to document 3,215 cases of forced labor under Indian law, 1,406 cases of child labor, and 286 cases of human trafficking. And they also note that this is just the tip of the iceberg. Factory owners and guards were denying the researchers access to many work sites. And of course, the speculation is they're denying them because the work sites are, brutal to look at and people would want to take immediate action. They say, quote, "The factories and shacks where workers toil 10 to 12 hours a day for 6 to 7 days a week were cramped, filthy, unbearably hot and humid, imperiled with stray electrical wires and rusty nails, and contaminated with grime and mold. Some sites were so wretched that researchers were afraid to investigate due to risks to their safety. Workers were subject to frequent beatings and abuse and were often assaulted with sharp tools or scissors. Many workers suffered from eye disease or loss of vision due to insufficient light. Some developed spinal deformation and after bending over the carpets for long periods of time. Workers also experienced muscle pain, headaches, cuts and infections, malnutrition, and psychological trauma. The workers identified were between the ages of 8 and 80, with children often experiencing the most brutal treatment of all. Quote, "We work from 7 in the morning until 10 at night," Bihar, a 14-year-old male carpet weaver, told the researchers. Laborers were permitted to eat only 2 meals a day and were made to live and sleep in the same place that they work. The average adult worker was paid between 21 and 24 cents an hour, while children were paid less. So they were working more than full-time and living in abject poverty. So you might be thinking, well, how does the U.S. factor into this? In 2012, the U.S. imported $306 million in handmade carpets from India, representing 46% of total handmade carpet imports, and that amounted to a retail value between $1.8 and $3.1 billion. So we're actually selling these products like it's nothing. In fact, the carpets are sold in a number of major retail chains, including Macy's, Neiman Marcus, Bloomingdale's, Target, Sears, Crate and Barrel, Williams-Sonoma, Pottery Barn, Ethan Allen, IKEA, and others. So all those everyday names that you hear all the time, man, I'm sure you've shopped in them, I've shopped in them before, they're actually getting products that are made with slave labor, with child labor, in brutal working conditions, completely unsanitary working conditions, and things that are totally preventable too, I should add. It's not like it's an accidental, like, whoops, we didn't comply with the building code because we didn't know about it. It's like, no, there's actually festering mold in the corner, and this guy has a respiratory disease now because of it, and this guy can't see because you don't have proper lighting, and this guy's got carpal tunnel because you worked him for 16 hours a day, and, all these different physical ailments and people dying at young ages as a result of it. I mean, this is absurd, man. This is crazy. Now, understand something. The only counter-argument to what we're putting out here is from the libertarians, and they say, well, look, it's better than the other scenarios they would have if they didn't work in these sweatshops. They could be starving in a farm on the mountainside or something. Okay, but, I mean, the argument you're making is essentially pick from the better of two evils and shut the fuck up. So, would you prefer me punch you in the nose or poke you in the eye with a sharp stick? Take your pick. Oh, you want to get punched in the nose? Okay, well, you picked that, so now you can't complain about anything. Yeah, but wait a second. How about neither? How about we come up with a third option that doesn't involve physical pain? And it's the same thing with what's going on with these sweatshops. The same thing with child labor. And if the U.S. were to just change our trade policies, get rid of NAFTA, get rid of GATT, get rid of the WTO, certainly stop negotiating this crazy Trans-Pacific Partnership, bring back tariffs on goods so that, you actually incentivize corporations to set up shop at home. And if a corporation wants to set up shop overseas and pay some poor Bangladeshi kid 14 cents an hour, okay, you tax the shit out of that guy and disincentivizing him from sending American jobs that could be middle-class jobs overseas. Okay, this is all preventable. This is all preventable with proper public policy. And also, by the way, world governments can use clout with governments that are really repressive like this and say, until you pay people a living wage and clean up the working conditions, you get no business from any of us. Worldwide sanctions. None of us are going to, be on your side at all. You're not going to be able to trade even with your neighbors or your favorite allies because there's a big embargo.